Hey, I'm Eric. I'm listening to 100 albums in 100 days. For all the details on what I'm doing and why, check out the video pinned in my profile. Today's album falls into the category of bands slash album that did not get enough attention when they first came out. Today I listened to the 1984 album Burnin Hot from the band Xavion. If you have heard of them, I will be shocked. They were the first all-black rock band to be shown on MTV. They were a five-piece out of Memphis, Tennessee, all African Americans, and they played rock. I mean, I actually played rock. I think I remember, and the way I saw them originally was I saw their video for a song called "Eat Your Heart Out" on MTV, and I immediately fell in love with them. And I remember one of the VJs, I can't remember if it was Mark Goodman or JJ Jackson, that described them as a cross between Shalimar and Van Halen, which doesn't make any sense because Shalimar had a girl and these guys don't. I don't know why I guess they was just trying to, figure out how to describe them. But they were just straight up rock. They had a different sound. They were keyboard heavy at times because they had two keyboard players. And their drummer played electronic drums, which kind of gave it a dance feel at times. So they sounded a little different in those two aspects. The guitar player could rip it up. I mean, he was just as capable as any of the other rock guitar players that were out at the time in '84. I remember so this came out when I was 14. I remember I had a hard time finding this album. Just because it just did not get, I guess it didn't get a wide distribution, but I did eventually find it. But they just did not, other than being on MTV, I don't think they got a fair shake as far as their, marketing and advertising. The funny thing is they were managed by Tommy Mottola, who ended up, being the president of Sony Records and Mr. Mariah Carey later on down the road. And he got them on MTV, but then they were on tour with people like the Romantics and Hall & Oates and Sly and the Family Stone. And that crowd just is not who that music should have been marketed to. This is their one and only album. I would have loved to have heard a second or a third album from these guys. And heard them, their writing mature, or just their music grow up beyond one album. Like I said, I finally got my hands on the album when I was 14, and it's a really good album. The opening track is "Eat Your Heart Out." That's the video that played on MTV, and they had another single called, I think it's called "Get Me Hot." It's the last song on the album. It's kind of a slow song. I don't think it had a video. I don't remember that video, but neither one of those singles went anywhere. And there's another song called "Love Games" that is a terrific song, but I want to say it was on a movie, not necessarily a soundtrack, but it was in a movie in the 80s. Definitely not an A-list movie, more of a B-list movie, but I cannot remember for the life of me why I think that, or why I remember that. And I can't find anything about it online, but I swear on my own head that song was in a movie somewhere. It's a great song. And then another good song on there is "Self-Built Hell." That's a really great song. That's probably it's a toss-up between the opening track and "Self-Built Hell" on which one is my favorite song. "Burnin' Hot" is a great song. It's a very well produced album, and it's a very well written album. They for a freshman offering, they did a really good job. I just think they didn't get marketed to the right sector of music, because they're 4 years ahead of Living Colour. Living Colour doesn't hit the scene until 1988. These guys were out in '84. If they'd been marketed to the same the same market as Living Color was, the more rock oriented crowd, I think they would have gone somewhere. I really do. They were very glam, which was probably, I don't want to say hindered them, but I don't think I think that added to the we don't know where to put them dilemma. But they were very glam, but they were very talented. So and for the longest time, this album wasn't on Spotify. You couldn't find it anywhere but YouTube. But I just happened to have a copy that I had just kept an MP3 copy of it for, I don't know, 10 or 15 years, and would listen to it that way. So it's worth a listen. Now that it's on Spotify, you can hear it. So if you have heard of these guys at all, I will be completely amazed and need to have a conversation with you, just because it's just would be amazing if you had heard of this band at all. It's worth a listen. Go look it up on Spotify and at least listen to the first 3 or 4 tracks. At least listen to Eat Your Heart Out, Self-Built Hell, and Love Games. Those are incredible songs. It's a shame those 3 did not get any kind of play on the charts at all. So if you get a chance to listen to it, let me know what you think.